Good morning. It's Amy Bolton here with Live Healthy, Be Happy. And today we're talking about shame and guilt, mommy guilt. We all experience it, that yucky stuff. And some tips on kind of how to handle it and deal with it and, feel that it's okay, right? Because we all experience it. So that's what we're here to talk about today. And let me know in the comments as you're watching the replay, let me know what you think and if you can relate to anything. If there's anything that you're experiencing that you can relate to, similarly to what I'm going to give you examples of. So, because I know I'll let you know some of the things I can relate to. I can probably relate to the majority of them. So, shame and guilt, they're often experienced when we're struggling with postpartum depression and anxiety. This is just a very, very common feeling that all mothers, not even just when we're experiencing postpartum depression and anxiety, we all experience guilt in one form or another. Different examples are, the guilt associated with formula feeding, letting our children watch TV, not being as environmentally friendly as we could be, letting them have junk food, leaving them with some childcare providers. Those are all kinds of forms or places in our lives where we end up feeling guilty. As mothers, we have to make all these choices, these big choices. We want to go back to work. We want to be okay with it. We want to break from our children. We end up yelling at our kids. We feel guilty about that. So there's just so many areas. And let me know if you relate to any of these or if there's anything you could add to the list of areas we feel guilty. And we feel that shame, we feel awful. The other big thing with having postpartum depression and anxiety is often we feel guilty about that just in general. Like maybe we feel like it's our fault. Maybe we feel like we could have done something different. And that's okay, but we need to let go of those feelings because it's definitely not true. Those are unrealistic expectations. So I talk a lot about that. A lot of this stuff has to do with expectations that we're holding on to. So it's always a good question to ask yourself, what expectations did I have prior to becoming pregnant, becoming a mom? What expectations did I have with being a mom? What other expectations did people put on to me? Were other people in my life expecting for me to be a certain way, and now I'm feeling that shame and that guilt around not being that person, not being that mother. Maybe that mother that we seen our mothers being, and we're like, why am I not like her? Or maybe our grandparents, or we hear stories of other, these perfect mothers or whatever, right? And we may feel guilty or shame that we're not doing things exactly, or looking over, the grass is greener on the other side of the fence, like I said, with cloth diapers, or with environmentally friendly things. So maybe we may feel guilty seeing those cloth diapers hanging on the fence and feel bad that we're not using them. But those things are okay. So I'll give you some suggestions on all of those, on how to deal with that. And like I say, the biggest thing is the expectations piece. So letting go of those expectations. And it's okay that we're not perfect. It's so okay that we're not perfect. It's okay to forgive ourselves and let ourselves know that it's okay and we're not perfect. And appreciate how hard we're working as a mother. Give ourselves some gratitude about all of the things that we are doing really well, because I know there's some things you're doing well. And let me know in the comments if there's something that you're doing well at, put it down. One of the little practices that I've started doing every morning is when I wake up, and I was so proud of myself this morning. I've been getting up, and the first thing I do is I journal about 10 things I'm grateful for, or whatever. I just free write. So grateful. What am I grateful for? What am I grateful for? And what it's doing is it's rewiring my brain to start being appreciative and grateful for things when I first wake up. So this is something you might want to try, because I was impressed this morning, because sometimes when I'm doing these live videos, I don't quite have enough time to fit in that practice as well as doing the live video. So this morning as I woke up, I didn't get a chance to get my journal out and write, but in my head I'm like, I'm grateful for this, I'm grateful for that, I'm grateful for all these things, and it was automatically putting me into a good mood. So that's a practice that you might want to try that will really help you with a lot of these guilty, shameful feelings, because it puts that flip on it and makes you appreciate a lot of the things that you are doing right. Because as mothers, we're doing a lot of things that are right. We're doing a lot of things that are best for our family and best for what our family needs, because you know what's best for your family. You know that what you need to be doing. And I strongly believe that we all have that intuition. Well, we do. It's gonna come, right? We have that intuition, and I know you have that intuition to know what's best for your family and what choices you need to make. And a lot of these are all just choices that we all have to make, and there's no need to feel shame or guilt around them, but we do, and that's okay. So like when we're talking about choosing formula feeding versus breastfeeding, now sometimes that's not a choice. So accept that you did your best and you tried your best, and you're not the only one who's going through this. There's many, many people who end up formula feeding when they thought they were going to be breastfeeding. And again, that comes back to an expectation, right? Expecting that we were going to be breastfeeding our children, and then we end up formula feeding. That happens, and that's okay. So it's whether it happens, if that's something that happens to you, you need to accept that you did your best, and that's okay, and move on past that, right? It's okay. So say if your child is watching TV, I know we're told like no TV under 2, it's not allowed, and then there's limitations above that. You're not the only one, okay? So many people, I was reading surveys about TV, and so many women apparently were lying on these surveys because they were just feeling guilty and shameful that they were letting their children watch TV. And that's not fair. And I know I've been there. I've sat there and lied to professionals like, no, I'm not doing that. Of course not. Because you feel so bad. You feel horrible. Like you're like, I'm doing something I'm not supposed to be doing. Well, it's your choice. It's okay. And the biggest thing here is moderation, right? So like we travel where we live, my family, we travel like 6 to 8 to 12 hours, depending, when we're going to just see a dentist, just to see, just to go and get, to bigger centers where there's more shopping and things like that. So, or to see my family, my sister, there's these big trips that we do on a very regular basis. Yeah, we have a DVD player in the car, and yeah, the girls watch DVDs on the way. We try and break it up. Moderation. We'll play, travel games, etc. And in the meantime, they have their coloring books. But yeah, they do watch a couple shows on the DVD player, because that is what we do, and that's okay. We moderate it, right? So the key is moderating. When it comes to environmentally unfriendly guilt, and when we're feeling crappy because maybe we were using disposable diapers, or maybe we use those disposable cups or plates at the birthday party or whatever, right? So most people who become parents are just, they kind of instinctively, the majority of them, become more environmentally friendly or environmentally aware. So as parents, of course, we want our children to have a better place to live, right? So that's just kind of natural that we want to be more concerned about that. So, and to take a little bit of that guilt and shame away, what you can do is just start small. Start with small steps. So a few small things that you can do. So, don't think of like, I need to, be cloth diapering. I need to be, using, all these different things. There's so many different ways we can, watching our lights, turning our lights out, changing all our light bulbs, those sorts of things, turning our hot water heater down, unplugging appliances. There's just so many ways, and I'm sure you can think of more. But starting small by, buying a plug that's going to turn off your TV automatically, or make sure not everything's on at once and it turns it all off. That's one simple thing. So just start with some small things. And Mary Beth saying, yes, this is also true. People can be so judgmental on us mamas, and you feel so shamed. Let's see more. My kiddos love their tablets, but I feel it's okay. but yes, so we feel that bad. And that's just the day and age, right? Our kids they have tablets. Like, I had a moment the other day. I'm sitting in front of my computer and I'm showing my daughter a video on Facebook of somebody that they knew, a friend that had moved away, and my 2-year-old goes and clicks and switches and looks at a different video. I'm like, whoa. And well, of course, my computer is a touchscreen. It's no different than the tablet they're playing with, and that's the day and age that we live in. And they know how to use these devices. That's what they're going to be doing. We didn't have this stuff around when we were children. Most of us didn't. So it's just a new day and age, and we need to just let that go and let those judgments go and ignore those people that are saying that and move on and accept the fact that it's okay that we're doing this in moderation, right? All of this, like the word moderation comes up so many times in all of these. And that's the biggest thing, is just finding that balance with what works for you and your family. Because they're just all choices that we have to make, right? And we have to be okay with that, with the choices that we make for our family, right? What works for us. And if it makes it easier at the end of the day, you're cooking dinner, the kids are tired, they're grumpy, and you give them the tablet, that's okay. That works for your family. Or what it may end up doing is reducing mom's stress so that you can actually get dinner fed, you can actually make them a decent meal, right? And be calm and be able to, have cuddles and books and stuff before bed or whatever, right? It might show that balance. My 3-year-old has to show Daddy how to use our iPad. Yeah, I know my dad, the girl's grandpa, he's always so amazed because they're like, "Look, Grandpa, what you can do," and it's really cute. Yeah, it's pretty cute, and it's a neat day and age, and there's lots of fun learning apps and fun things on there, right? So some of those statistics can make us feel really guilty and really shameful, saying like, "No, we can't be doing this, and you shouldn't be doing that, and this is what you should be doing as parents." Well, really, what we should be doing as parents is what works for us, really, as long as, our children are happy and thriving. And actually, I'm going to talk about that soon, as there's a book, What Mothers Do When It Looks Like Nothing, and she talks a lot about that. There's no real words about, like, how a mom is doing her job okay or doing things okay. There's all these words for shaming and guilting and making us feel like we're not doing a good job, neglecting our children, etc. There's all these words associated with that, but nothing to be like, you're doing okay, you're doing fine. So I'll talk about that book at some point too. My kiddos are 3 months, 3 years, and 7, so you do have to get so much done, and you have to distract sometimes to do those chores. Yes, Mary Beth, that's so true. I know I have a 6-year-old and a 2-year-old, and yeah, putting a 3-month in the mix, I could imagine it's definitely a lot, and you need those things, and I totally understand with just the 2, and I add a couple friends in there, and you do need sometimes some distractions to get things done in order to get your house clean. Like, my house isn't perfect, my house isn't clean. We do our best, we have fun, especially in the summer months when we're trying to be out there and enjoying outside nature. Like, that's what we love doing. We spend more time in the winter home, but it's, you need to do what you need to do to get things done. Like, there's no way that I'd be able to get my house clean and certain chores done without some of those distractions, right? And moderation is key, so we know what's best. Junk food. That's another one. Sometimes we feel bad. Should we give them junk food? Should we not give them junk food? And it's funny because I was just telling my husband the other day that I'm so thankful. Like, my daughter, sometimes she can be a picky eater when it comes to dinner time. But her lunches, we've adapted quite a good system. And yeah, a lot of the time it's the same lunch over and over, but it's a very healthy nutritionist. Can't say the word today, but it's a very healthy lunch that she is eating, and so I don't feel as bad because it's all about moderation. She's getting something nutritious at lunch, and she likes it, And I know she was really excited the other day because her dad gave her some candy. She's like, oh, I can trade this with my friends. They always have candy. They have all these things, those roll-up things. And she's describing this all to her dad. And I was like, oh. And I had a little bit of mommy guilt, like, oh yeah, I don't ever send candy or junk food with her in her lunches. But I was also really proud, like, flip it over and be grateful that she's getting all this wonderful, nutritious food at lunchtime. She eats it all, like, sometimes she doesn't eat it all, but the majority of the time she eats quite a bit. And then when she comes home at dinner time, if she doesn't really like what's on the table, I always try and have something that they like. But then I'm like, well, I know that you've gotten, all the food groups you needed to at lunch, and I know that you enjoyed your lunch, and that's the moderation, that's the balance that we need to find, right? And it's okay once in a while to do the junk food and whatever works for you, right? Finding that balance here and there. Actually, I tried something. Halloween's always been very stressful and I feel guilty, and I'm like, should I let them eat all this candy and what should I do, right? So I tried this thing at Halloween this year, and I just let them. I was like, Kate, we went until they were tired. They didn't get a huge amount of candy, but they got about a half a bag or so much, like a grocery bag kind of full. And I let them just eat it and eat it and eat it until they were done. And you know what? They did really good. Some of them ended up getting sick and just throwing it away. And one of my daughters did that, and it was all gone within like 2 days. And I didn't have to worry. I was just like, I'm just gonna let you do this. And that's one of the times they know that they're allowed to have junk food is Halloween, and some of the other holidays we get a few other treats. So that's the thing, is moderation. I know that they don't get it all the time, so that's kind of one of those treats. That was the way I chose to do it. You may choose to do it some way differently, and that's okay. And you don't need to feel guilty because maybe you had some other system for Halloween. That's okay, right? Remember, we're all doing the best for our families, so remember that. Another thing that we may feel guilty about is leaving our children with a new caregiver or somebody different, right? So let me know if you relate to that. I know when I went back to work, I felt so guilty. I felt so bad. My daughter was crying and I was leaving her, and I was crying on the way to work, and it was awful. And and then I feel guilty because I was just like, I just want a break. I just want to work. And so we have all this guilt and shame in so many ways, and it's okay to feel that way. And a way to get past that is to be really familiar with your caregivers ahead of time. And I know, looking back, hindsight, I probably could have spent a little bit more time with that caregiver, with some of my other caregivers, because I know that guilt and shame went away tremendously when I had a different care provider at that point. And ultimately, short story, I ended up just starting my own daycare, and that felt a lot better for me. So just finding what works for you and that balance that works for you. And it's totally okay. You can try and have those practice runs with a new caregiver and try and find that balance that works away. Stay away from debates online, because sometimes online people can have all these debates about whether you should be a stay-at-home mom, whether you should be a working mom. Well, you know what? It's okay. Either is okay. What works for your family. And the best thing is to stay away from those debates and find support groups that are going to support you in the area that you believe in. If you're a working mom, then find support groups around working mom. If you're a stay-at-home mom, find stay-at-home support groups. I kind of have both. I work part-time. I do my online business, so I'm working from home, I'm working from work, and I'm also a stay-at-home mom in the meantime, right? So it's finding that balance that works for you and finding that support around you that's going to support you with that. Mary Beth, I need to learn to ask for more sitting. I'm a stay-at-home mom and I try to take everyone everywhere. Yes, and so when you're a stay-at-home mom, I'm a part of a few groups like that, and it's about, I'm learning too, is asking more for more help, right? And not feeling bad about that. Because the unique thing is, yeah, I work, but I've always taken my kids to work, right? So the only time that I have that time away from my children when I'm at work is when they're at school. So now that they've started preschool and kindergarten or grade 1, I do have a little bit of a break from them at work, but still I feel that like I need to take them everywhere with me, so I can totally relate to that. And that's the thing is, what I started doing is I started trying to hire a regular babysitter to help with certain things. Or I'm really been looking at like, okay, can I get somebody in to clean my house for maybe a couple hours a week or an hour here and there a week, just to help a little bit, you know. And it's important to look in your life, like, is there ways, or are there parents, right? So just thinking about that, are there family members around or friends who can do it for free? Can you say, hey, do you want to come hang out with the girls or hang out with the kids for a while I go shopping, or while I go, you know, to my massage appointment? You know, I used to feel guilty about that when I would start getting massages, and I'd be like, okay, well, I'll just cancel my appointment because I don't want to leave the girls. Well, my self-care is so important. In order for me to feel good and to be healthy and be present with my girls, I need to do that. So I need to make sure that I'm getting that childcare and not feel guilty about it. And so you got to flip it around and find that good side. Okay, why am I doing this? And then I started putting myself first. And it's been a slow process. I'm still working on it with some things, but we need to put ourselves first and say, it's important, right? And so Mary Beth, I feel like I do not want to ask too much, and it's okay to be a stay-at-home mom. It's totally okay. It's totally okay. And if you need that break, get that break and take that time to ask for those people to help you, because it's going to make your day so much better so that you can enjoy being a stay-at-home mom, because there's so many wonderful parts and there's so many wonderful things that happen as being a stay-at-home mom. So that's where you want to focus your attention, is with people who understand that, right? And kind of ignore all the other stuff, right? And that's so important, so that you can let that shame and guilt go and feel better and feel confident about what you're doing. And thank you so much for sharing, Mary Beth. I love all of this. It's so interactive. Yelling at kids. So that's another area. And I know I've been through this before, and I talk about the book that I read a lot about, Yell Free. I think it's right here, Peaceful Parent, Happy Kids, How to Stop Yelling and Start Connecting. So that, I've been there, I get it. And yeah, I feel really bad. And nowadays, every so often, you know, just because I read the book, just because I've been practicing it, it's not like I'm perfect. Nobody's perfect. We're not perfect parents. Yeah, I do yell, and I feel really bad, and I feel really guilty. But the way I look at it is I flip it around, and I see it as a sign to dealing with my stress. Okay, Amy, what's going on? Like, why are we yelling? And I remind my husband too, is like, okay, we need some more connection going on. My girls need that connection. We need to slow down. Like, what do I need? Why is my fuse so short right now? Do I need that massage? Did I miss it this month? Do I need that bubble bath? Do I need that, that hot cup of tea? Do I need to go to bed early? Do I need to sleep? Do I need to drink more water? I know right now it's a huge time of year, and I'm trying to keep my water bottle full and drink more water, because I can tell that that's what's going on, right? We all know intuitively what we need in our body. So take a moment. What do you need? Do you need somebody to talk to? Do you need to drink more water? What do you need so that you're not yelling at your kids, right? So use it as a little sign of, like, instead of feeling guilty and shameful, yeah, of course we do accept it. That's okay. It's normal to feel that way. But then move on and say, what do I need to do to not be doing these things, right? So think about it that way and try it out. Let me know how it goes. And thank you so much for joining me, guys. That's the list I had for today. Let me know if there's anything else you'd add to the list. And before I go, I want to let you know that I am starting my postpartum support circle, and I'm super, super excited about it. And I will drop the link in the description in the comments, and be sure to check it out. Let me know what you think, and if you have any questions, I have more information coming out in the next week, and I'm so, so excited, because it's a great support group where we can talk about all these things, talk about this shame and this guilt in a place where we don't have to feel judged, where we don't have to feel like crap, where we don't have to, where we can come up with these ideas of how to flip it around and feel better, feel good about ourselves, right? So thank you so much for joining me. I don't want to keep you too much longer, because I know being a mom, it's busy, and sometimes we get pulled back and forth, and it's hard to watch these videos, so I try and keep them short. Okay, ladies, love you lots, and thank you for commenting, Mary Beth. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.